Hello, James, and welcome back to Calgary.
Hi, Suze. Very happy to be there. But you can see that I always keep a little bit of Alberta with me, right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we like to claim you as our own, but I know you've been in Ontario quite some time now. But Calgary still feel like home in your world?
Yeah, Alberta, Calgary is always going to be my home. Always, always, always.
The song that you co-wrote with Cara, the Alberta,
Hmm.
brings me to tears every time. Um, I'm hoping
Excellent.
I'm hoping you'll play that one for us when you're at the club in April.
Well, if you slip me a five.
I'm sure we can make that happen. I'm sure we can make
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so lots of things going on in your world. Most people, I think, that are fans of yours are maybe not aware that you are also the artistic director for not one, but two festivals. So the Summerfolk as well as one in Perth. Um, how do you find kind of you're on both sides of the table, right? You're producing shows, promoting shows, and you're also giving shows. That makes a bit of a unique space for you.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that doing the artistic director job as you know, I'm sure, is that there's a fair amount of art to that, and uh, I kind of feel like the artistic director job is really just an extension of one of the artistic things that I do because mine is condensed into a weekend. But that weekend has to have peaks and valleys. It's like getting out a set of music. Everything's got to have peaks and valleys and stuff. And I love it. It stretches my mind, and I love introducing the audience to new people. I love the whole programming of workshops, of putting people, artists together, especially artists that don't know one another, letting the artists discover one another, and creating that sort of space where people get to discover new music or discover old music in a new way. Like it's one of the most amazing things and really, really, really satisfying.
Yeah. Well, and speaking
Yeah.
of workshops, there was a killer workshop that you did with Connie Calder in Canmore this last summer. That was like you guys were pretty familiar with each other's music, but boy, was it ever a delight to just watch you two play off of each other and be totally in the moment with each other.
Yeah, and Connie, the thing with Connie is Connie was we're not that different in age, but she was at it a little bit earlier than I was, so she was really an influence on me. She was really somebody that inspired me, and watching her, uh, perform and whatnot were gave me pointers and things that helped me in my life and my performing life. And Connie and I have always gotten on together really well. We've over the course of the years we've done touring together, and I've did her TV show, and we've done tons of festivals and stuff. So Connie and I have a really significant history, and I just love hanging out with her.
Yeah. Well, and you were headed off of us kind of right after you walked off that stage. Speaking of peaks and valleys, we were in the peaks at Calgary, sorry, at Canmore Folk Festival, and then headed off to Montana for the anniversary of the Man Gulch fire. So folks that are familiar with your work know that story all too well. And what I find really interesting, James, is when I spoke with you about it off camera previously, was that, I mean, you have an ability to take a historical story and make it personal for the audience. It sounds to me like what happened for you when you went to Montana was that that song then made it even more personal for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens with a lot of the songs, and especially the story songs, is that they go off and they get a life of their own. They're like kids. They just wander off and they come back, and they come back with all these stories. But then sometimes you don't realize the effect that a song has had on people. And so when I arrived at the State House to get set up and for my part of it. There's like maybe a thousand people there, but there was tons of uh, forestry service workers and hotshot crews and smoke jump crews and people who were descendants of people who had died on the fire and the governor and all these people. And my song was the last thing, and and because it was the last thing. it's like the ceremony ended, and then people who wanted to go up and talk to John McClane or the governor or whatnot went and did that. But then tons of people came up to me and just, we're like, we never thought we'd meet the person who actually wrote the song, and letting me know exactly what the song meant to them, and realizing that the song has become an anthem in the firefighting community, and that all these people knew the song. Like I mean, they didn't need me to sing it for them. They probably all could have sung it themselves. And that's an amazing thing to have happen with a piece of work that you've done.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you say, like, I mean, you know that that song affects people because you see it every time you perform it, but to see the effect on a community and a community of people and a group of people who work in that industry, that it's become kind of a guiding light for them. That's wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an amazing thing. The feeling was electric. I played that evening. They arranged a gig for me, so I played a gig, and then at the gig, this wildfire fighters association actually gave me an award. They give out awards to people who have had a significant impact on the wildfire fighting community, called the Black Mountain Award. And I'm the first person who's not a firefighter who got this award, and it was just really emotional.
Yes.
Like I was almost in tears, really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so were they. But it was yeah. The thing is that Helena, you know, the that thing was a huge tragedy for that town, like huge. And it just really lives in the memory. For the rest of us, it's a song about a historical incident. For them, it's a song about their town. It's a song about something that happened in their town, and the community really takes that on in a big way.
Right. Well, and you take on stories that touch people. And I don't know how you come up with your set list because the greatest for you will probably last about 12 and a half hours straight through without a break. Just of all the songs of yours that I'd love to hear because they're just so monumental. Incredible body of work, incredible. You've come a long way since you started out in small venues in Calgary, but we're really, really super glad to have you back at the Calgary Folk Club. You'll always have a
Oh,
home.
really happy to be there.
Yeah.
Really happy to be there.
April the
And
11th.
yeah, April the 11th.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, like during the pandemic, one of the when I finally got sort of got in the zone with the whole streaming thing, we realized that you couldn't just come on and play the same concert over and over again. You had to figure things out. But then we did a thing called a month of Sundays, which was in February of 2021. And we took, like an hour and a half for each of the Sundays, so 4 Sundays. And the idea was that I was going to play different songs every time. There were going to be no repeats, and people could send in requests, but I'd make up the set list. So that was like 1.5, so 4, so 6 hours total of no repeats of songs. And then we'd have like a crowd thing afterwards where we could, just engage with the people that were there, and and people would talk about how those songs affected them, and it was amazing. But yeah, like where does that just the last show of the year this year was down for my good friend Joyce Sika, down just outside Baltimore, and Joyce has been presenting me almost as long as like the Calgary Folk Club has been presenting me, and uh, and it was the last show of the year. I was literally just flying in to do the show and then flying out, and it was a really long day, and I couldn't think of a set list, and so at the beginning of the show, I just said, I've got a couple of things I'm going to start with, and then tell me what to play because really I'm brain dead and I don't know what to play. So they did, and I couldn't play everything that everybody wanted. But somebody would go, I want this one. Okay, well, I'll play that one. Then somebody, I want that one. Okay, well, I'll play that one. And we did the whole evening like that. And it was great, but towards the end, you just begin to realize, okay, you got to stop yelling songs now because we won't have time.
Yeah.
And they were going, well, just stay. And it's like, sorry, gotta go.
Got a plane to catch. Yeah, I got a plane
Yeah.
to catch. Well, we're super excited to have you back April the 11th. For those folks who are in town, join us live. For those folks who aren't in the Calgary area, we do a live stream and we keep it available to you, the link available to folks for a couple of days, 3 days afterwards. All the proceeds go directly to the artists. So support keeping music live, whether you can be there in person or not. Tickets are available at the calgaryfolkclub.com. And Mia Kelly will be gracing the stage first up for us, and she's a recommendation of yours, and we're super
Yeah,
excited to have her as well.
Mia's amazing, and she is having quite a year. And so she'll be headlining in no time, and I will be bringing along David Woodhead as
Oh,
well
super.
to play with me. So it'll be me and David. I know people like seeing David play, so it's going to be a fantastic evening.
It sure will be. Well, thanks so much for joining me. 2025 is looking bright, and we'll see you April 11th.
Take care, Suze.